Hey guys, I am so excited to finally be creating a YouTube video, so I'm just going to go ahead and jump right in. First, I'm going to be applying a moisturizing SPF. This one in particular that I'm going to be using is from Image Skincare. It's definitely not a shameless plug because I sell their stuff in my studio. I actually swear by the products and wear this moisturizing SPF every day. It's super important to wear a daily SPF because a lot of people think that the SPF in their foundations are good enough protection when in reality they aren't, and they won't protect you from those cancer-causing rays. So I always tell my friends, family, and clients to just put on a daily moisturizing SPF before your makeup application. Next, I'm going to be going in with my foundation. I use the IT Cosmetics CC Cream in Light. This is honestly the only foundation that I wear. I love the buildable coverage it has without feeling super cakey, and I still like that my skin looks like my skin when I have it on versus looking like someone I'm totally not. I'm also using the Morphe M439 Deluxe Buffer Brush to blend it out. I love this brush. It makes it super quick and easy to apply because, believe it or not, even though makeup is my livelihood, I still like to have a quick and easy makeup application for the most part. So this just makes it super easy, and it doesn't lose out on any of the coverage that I like also. Next, I'm going to be taking the best concealer ever right now, the Tarte Shape Tape in Light Sand, and I'm going to be applying that to my under eyes, my eyelids, my nose, my forehead, my chin, and other little surrounding areas that I need just a tiny bit more coverage with. I'm starting to blend out the bulk areas with the same Morphe M439 brush, but then later you'll see me swap over to the Morphe M172, I believe is the number. If that's incorrect, I will put the correct number down below. But basically, that brush is just like this Deluxe Buffer Brushes baby. It has the same density, which is really, really nice, and it just helps like get in the under eye creases and the eyelid crease and like the corners of the nose and stuff like that, just so that way there's no harsh concealer lines or unblendedness with the concealer on your face. Moving on to powder, I'm using two different kinds. The first one is the Balm's Photo Balm Powder in Light. I love this powder, and on most days, this is the only one that I'll use. However, on days where I want a little more coverage, I will put the Tarte Amazonian Clay Powder Foundation in Light on top as well. The only reason that I don't wear the Tarte powder alone is because I've found that it gets super cakey really fast, and that's just not how I want to feel throughout the day. So if you have this powder, I always recommend using it with a light hand or try to mix it with another powder like I do if you feel like it gets really cakey really fast. But other than that, I really like the coverage and I like the longevity of the product, and I feel like it still looks like my skin. Moving on to brows, I'm using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in medium brown, and I'm using a Morphe angled liner brush. I have finally gotten to a comfortable place with my eyebrows. Even though I've been doing makeup for about 6 years, I still went through some ugly brow days. Well, really like ugly brow months, I would say. And let's just say that my mom did warn me, you guys, but I didn't listen because I was all about that big bushy eyebrow trend that I clearly don't have naturally. So I just went through some ugly times, y'all. Next thing that I'll be applying is the Benefit Give Me Brow in shade 3, and I just like to put this on top and put every hair into place and make sure that they stay there. Moving on, I'll be warming up my face with the Hoola Bronzer by Benefit. I've literally probably went through 20 of these in my makeup lifetime, not even kidding. It's just so smooth and it lasts all day. There's nothing out there that really compares to it, in my opinion, and it just looks really flawless on the skin. You'll see me kind of brush it all over the place, but the main areas where I'm putting the product are the cheekbones, the forehead, the jawline, and then I'll buff out the harshness of those lines just because I want that more like flawless sun-kissed look rather than the harsh contour look. And then when I move on to my nose, I'll just take whatever product is left and run it on the sides. And for this, I'm using the Morphe R10 brush to apply. For blush, I'm using a Wet n Wild blush actually in Pearlescent Pink and my Morphe E34 brush. I actually stumbled upon this blush by accident. It's literally a dupe for one of my favorite discontinued Benefit blushes called Bella Bamba. I swore by that blush and it still breaks my heart that it's not out there, but this one literally does just fine. For highlight, I'm taking my Morphe M501 brush. Holy grail highlight brush, y'all, I swear. And ColourPop's Flexitarian for obvious reasons. I love the payoff from the color highlights. And always get compliments on my highlight when I wear a ColourPop highlight. And you can see I literally like to bathe in it. Moving on to eyeshadow. So a little trick that I will always start out with is essentially finding a skin tone shade that won't really show up on your eyes, but just kind of acts as a base. And I'll put it all over the eyelid and the under eye area. I find that when I set my under eye area with an actual eyeshadow, that my under eye concealer doesn't crease and my smoked out lash line actually stays put all day. So I'm taking that shade Parched from the Jeffree Starr Thirsty palette on a Morphe tapered blending brush. This brush doesn't have an exact number because it came in one of the holiday sets, so I'll try to link a similar one down below. Moving on to that same Thirsty palette, I'm taking the shade Taste Buds. This is going to act as my transition shade and just help the brighter and darker shades that I use blend seamlessly onto the eye. This is also a really pretty color just to pop on your lids and add some lashes and liner if you're in a hurry. I was noticing this footage and I'm like, that actually looks really nice for just kind of a minimal, hey, I gotta run out the door in 10 minutes, so let me just kind of look presentable look. I'm here just taking a blank brush and just kind of blending out those harsh edges. Now I'm going to go into the Jaclyn Hill and Morphe Bling Boss palette. Using that same Morphe blending brush that I was using the Taste Buds shades on, I'm going to take the shade Hush Hush and just running it on top of the Taste Buds shade to give it more of a purple undertone to get ready for the deeper purple shades that I'm going to be using. Taking my Morphe M441 brush, this is probably one of my favorite brushes. I'm going to be dipping it into the shade Rockstar and buffing this into my crease from the outer corner to the inner corner, avoiding the center of the eyelid as much as possible. This shade is super pigmented. I love this eyeshadow. Purples are just my jam. I think they look so fun and different. Using this small detail brush from Morphe, I'm going in with the shade Gem and creating a sort of cut crease line, in a sense, across my natural crease line and just slightly above it, just to make my eye appear more open. I'll be using this as a guide for some other colors here shortly, so it's not technically a cut crease eye that I'm doing, but I do like to make this line on my eye shape just to extend my natural crease a little bit more. Next, taking the Laura Lee Party Animal palette and taking that shade Hung Over, I'm just running it along that gem shade to deepen it just a little bit. Then I'm going to go back into the Bling Boss palette and mix Rockstar and Gem on my Morphe M433 brush, which this brush is probably hands down my favorite. I know I've probably said that like 16 times, but this one really is my favorite Morphe brush. I have a few of these. I just like how it packs the color onto the lid and blends it out so seamlessly. But I'll just be taking that and just deepening the crease even more and blending out the harshness of the lines. Eyeshadow looks are all about blending, so if your hand doesn't feel like it's about to fall off, you're literally not blending it enough. Going back into the Laura Lee palette, I'm taking the shade Karaoke, which is the intense electric blue that you see by my expression. I was thoroughly happy with how that came out. This palette actually came from my fiance's sister, and I've never tried it before, so thanks, Lauren. But I'm just packing that mainly on the outer crease and packing it slightly inward as well, just to add a little bit more dimension and color to the crease, still avoiding that center of the lid as much as possible. Then I'm just going to take the Stila Glitter and Glow Liquid Eyeshadow in Painted Lady and apply that to the lid space, keeping it a little lower than normal because I wanted to keep all the dimension of colors in that crease. And then I'm going to be taking a small Morphe shader brush and spraying that with the Heritage Store's Rose Water, going back into the Bling Boss palette with the shade Ballsy to set that liquid shadow shade. These are both really similar in their duochrome reflective coloring, so I thought the two paired well together, and I really like how it turned out. And here in just a few minutes, you will see my dog Bella coming up for air from her nap and then wiggling back down in the background, so I totally had to keep that in. There she is, and there she goes. Now, during this whole process, you will just see me going back and forth with the different purples and blues that I mentioned and just keep deepening different areas that I felt lost a little bit of their color when adding the lid shade. So just play around with it until you feel like all of the colors are seamless but still showing. And I'm taking the Part shade also from the Thirsty palette and running it along the outer edge of the eye and the under eye, just to clean up from the little fallout that there was. Next, I'm going to be taking the Balm Swing eyeliner and applying some winged eyeliner with a dramatic, colorful look like this. You gotta have some sharp liner, you know? I really love this eyeliner because the color payoff is so nice and it does last a long time, so I don't have to worry about it moving around or going anywhere. Keeping up with the Balm theme, I'm taking their Scuba Mascara and applying a coat to the top lashes to prep for the false lash application. And for the lashes, I'll be using House of Lashes in Iconic Lights and the Velour Lash Glue. Then you will see me just showing you a little bit of how falsies can amp up your look tremendously. Taking that same Scuba Mascara, I am just running another light coat to blend the falsies in with my natural lashes. Taking the Morphe and Jaclyn Hill Armed and Gorgeous palette, along with a small Morphe shader brush and a little spray of that rose water. With the shade VIP from this palette, I'm using that as my brow bone highlight and my inner corner highlight. This shade is so amazing. If you don't have this palette though, just use a different icy white shade, or even the ColourPop Flexitarian highlight will work. I use that as my brow and inner corner highlight a lot. I don't want you guys just to run out and buy an eyeshadow palette just because I recommend like one color from it. If you like all the orangey and green tones in that palette, go for it. But otherwise, there's plenty of other icy white eyeshadows out there that you can use. Next, I'm going back in with the Laura Lee palette, and I'm using that Hungover shade and that blue Karaoke shade, and I'm just going to mix those two together and run them on my lower lash line with that same small detail brush from before. You can leave the lower lash line blank if you want. Sometimes I do, but then I have the days where I want to be a little extra, and today was one of those days, obviously. Taking my powder brush, I am just brushing away any fallout that was on my face. And then I thought the lower lash line was missing just a little bit of that burgundy undertone, so I grabbed a little bit of that Rockstar shade from the Bling Boss palette and ran it on the lower lash line as well, completing the eyes by taking the Scuba Mascara as well and applying it on the lower lashes. I tried really hard not to just have my mouth gaping open during this step, if you guys can't tell. Of course, adding some more highlight since a lot of it got rubbed away during the eyeshadow process. Just going to give myself another bath in some highlighter. Then I'm taking the Tarte lip paint in Get It and applying that to the lips, which is basically my lip color, but I'm all about those natural mauve pinks. And there you have it. That is my first YouTube video. I hope that you like this fun and colorful look. Comment below any requests you have for videos and I will film them. I love you all and I will see you in my next video. Bye!